The morning in the small Oregon town was icy when 7-year-old Emma opened her eyes. Frost traced the inside of the thin window glass. The cold hurt, but it was not what made her chest feel tight. It was the silence from her mother's room. Emma stood in the doorway and watched her mother sleep. Her chest rose in short, shallow breaths. Her skin looked pale. A bottle of pills lay on the nightstand, turned on its side, almost empty. "Mama." Her mother's eyes opened a little. "Morning, baby." Her voice was soft and thin. "Did you sleep?" Emma nodded, but the lie stung. She had heard the coughing through the walls. She had heard her mother in the bathroom, trying not to cry. She had heard the phone call to the pharmacy. "Please, I will pay soon. I just need the medicine." "We are sorry, ma'am. No payment, no refill." The words carved themselves into Emma's mind. In the kitchen, envelopes covered the table. Red stamps shouted past due. One letter was different. Final notice for rent. Emma could not read every word, but she understood enough. They were running out of time. In the corner of her small room lay the one bright piece of her world. A golden retriever puppy, all soft fur and warm breath, curled in a patch of winter light. Ranger. Her dad had brought him home just weeks before the accident. "So you are never alone, kiddo." He had laughed and put the puppy in her arms. A girl needs a good dog. Since the day her father died, Ranger had been her comfort. He licked away tears. He pressed against her when the nights felt too big and too quiet. Emma knelt beside him now. He woke and wagged his tail. His eyes shone with trust. "Hey, Ranger." Her voice shook. She wrapped both arms around his neck and held on. His fur was warm. For a moment she let herself pretend that everything was fine. But the kitchen table said otherwise. Emma had heard her mother whisper once on the phone to the woman who had bred Ranger. How much would a puppy like him be worth now? The answer burned into Emma's memory. $800, maybe more with his papers. That was more money than Emma had ever seen. Enough for medicine. Maybe enough for food. Maybe enough to buy her mother a bit more time. The idea rose in her mind like a storm. At first she tried to push it away. Sell Ranger. Lose the only piece of her father she had left. She looked toward her mother's room. She listened to the rough breathing. She saw the nearly empty bottle of pills. A good dog would want his girl's mom to live. The thought was so clear it almost felt like a voice. Emma wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. She picked up her mother's phone from the table and scrolled through the contacts until she found the breeder's number. Her fingers shook as she typed. "This is Emma. I need to sell my puppy. My mom needs medicine. Can you help me?" She stared at the screen. Her heart pounded. For a moment she thought about deleting the message. Then she remembered her mother's whisper in the night. "I do not know what we will do." Emma hit send. There was no going back now. The reply came faster than Emma expected. "Hello, sweetheart. I remember your mom. Bring the puppy this afternoon. I know someone who has been looking for a dog just like him." Emma stared at the screen until the words blurred. Her hands felt light, heavy, everything at once. She walked back to her mother's room and stood beside the bed. Her mother slept again, her face tight with pain even in rest. Emma found a scrap of paper and a pencil. "Mama, I went to help. Please do not be mad. I love you more than the whole sky. Emma." She added a small heart and placed the note carefully on the nightstand, right beside the empty pill bottle. Then she went to her room. Ranger jumped up the second he saw her. He bounced in circles, thinking this was another game, another walk, another happy moment. "We are going on an adventure." Emma said it softly, forcing a smile. She clipped the leash onto his collar with hands that would not stop shaking. Then she opened the front door and stepped into the cold wind. The town road stretched ahead of her, quiet and long. The breeder's house was 3 miles away. Emma had gone there once with her mom, back when things were easier, back when her dad was still alive. She remembered the path, past the feed store, left at the church, then straight down the road where the farms began. Ranger trotted beside her, tail high, ears bouncing. To him, this was a good day. The first mile passed in silence. Emma counted her steps to keep herself steady. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The second mile hurt more. The cold pressed into her fingers. Her legs felt slow. A car passed and then another. A truck slowed beside her. The window rolled down. Are you okay, little one? Do you need help? Emma shook her head quickly. I am fine. My aunt lives nearby. The lie tasted sharp, but she could not stop. She could not let anyone turn her back. By the third mile, Ranger slowed. He looked up at her as if asking a question. He brushed against her leg, trying to comfort her. Emma swallowed hard. It is okay. We are almost there. The small house appeared at the end of the road. Fenced yard. Dogs barking inside. A woman stood on the porch, her face already creased with worry. Emma? The woman knelt as Emma approached. Does your mother know you are here? Emma lowered her eyes. She is too sick to stop me. The woman's face softened. She led them inside. The house smelled like dogs and coffee. Emma knelt on the floor and wrapped her arms around Ranger one last time. He licked her cheek. His tail wagged harder, happy that his girl was close. Be good. Her voice cracked. Be very good. Remember, I love you. The woman gently took the leash. She placed an envelope in Emma's hands. $900. I added a little extra. The envelope felt too heavy, too important. The door closed. Ranger was gone. Emma stood outside again, clutching the envelope, her chest aching with a hollow pain she had never known before. She turned toward home and began to walk. She had taken only a few steps when the ground began to tremble. A distant sound rolled through the air. Deep, powerful. It was getting closer. The sound grew louder with every step Emma took. It was not thunder. The sky was clear. The road beneath her feet began to vibrate as if it was waking up. Engines. Many of them. Emma stopped walking. Ranger's leash was no longer in her hand, but her fingers still curled as if it were there. She hugged the envelope of money against her chest. Around the bend came motorcycles. Big ones, black and chrome, riding slow and tight together, filling the road from side to side. Emma's heart pounded. The first bike slowed. Then the next. One by one, they rolled to a stop in front of her. The engines went quiet, leaving a thick silence behind. The man on the lead bike removed his helmet. His hair was gray. His face was worn by wind and years, but his eyes were gentle. Hello, little one. His voice was low and calm. You must be Emma. Emma froze. She nodded, unsure how he knew her name. The man stepped off his bike and knelt down so they were face to face. I am not here to scare you. He took a slow breath. My name is Jack. The woman at the breeder's house called me. Emma swallowed hard. Why? Jack looked at her with a mix of sadness and respect. She told me about a brave little girl who sold her puppy to buy medicine for her mom. Emma felt her eyes burn. Jack pulled out his phone and opened a photo. He turned the screen toward her. Do you recognize him? Emma's breath caught. The man in the picture was smiling, younger, standing beside Jack with a hand on a motorcycle. That is my dad. Her voice came out small. Jack's eyes filled. Your father rode with us for many years. He was family. A murmur spread through the riders behind him. Helmets came off. Faces changed as recognition set in. Jack nodded to them. We lost touch when he chose a quiet life. We thought he wanted distance. We never knew he had a daughter. Emma clutched the envelope tighter. He died last year. The words landed heavy. Jack closed his eyes for a moment. I am so sorry. He opened them again, steady and certain. And I am sorry we did not find you sooner. The riders began stepping closer, not crowding her, but forming a circle of protection. One man spoke. Hawk had a kid? Another wiped his face with his sleeve. Jack stood and rested a hand on Emma's shoulder. You should not be walking alone like this. He glanced at the envelope. You already gave up more than any child should. Emma's voice trembled. I had to help my mom. Jack's jaw tightened. You did the right thing, but you do not have to do this by yourself anymore. He pointed to the bike beside him. We are taking you home. Emma hesitated. I need to go back. Jack smiled, soft but firm. So do we. He led her to his motorcycle and unfolded a small side seat she had never noticed before. He lifted her gently and buckled her in. Hold tight. The engines roared back to life, louder than before. The ground shook. 150 bikes turned toward Emma's street. The town watched as they moved together, slow and powerful, like a promise on two wheels. Emma looked ahead, clutching the money, unaware that her life had already changed forever. The motorcycles rolled through the quiet streets of town like a moving wall of steel and light. People stopped what they were doing. Doors opened. Curtains shifted. No one spoke as the long line of bikes passed by. Emma sat still in the small seat beside Jack. The wind pressed against her face. Her fear slowly faded, replaced by something new. Safety. They turned onto her street. Neighbors stepped outside, eyes wide. No one had ever seen anything like this here. The bikes came to a stop in front of Emma's small house. One by one the engines went quiet. Jack helped Emma down and kept his hand on her shoulder. Men gathered around him. Their faces were serious, focused. Jack raised his voice just enough for all of them to hear. Brothers, this is the daughter of Michael Hawkshin. A ripple moved through the group. Heads lifted, breath caught. The man who saved my life. The man who walked away from the road to be a father. The man we never stopped calling family. Several men wiped their faces. One bowed his head. Jack looked down at Emma. Your father was brave. Loyal. He put others first. Today we do the same. He turned back to the group. This child sold her puppy to buy medicine. That ends now. The crowd reacted at once. Not with noise but with motion. Phones came out. Calls were made. One man spoke into his phone. I need every prescription filled today. Yes. All of them. Another pointed toward the house. Heat is broken. I can fix it. Give me an hour. A third waved toward a truck down the street. We need food. I will take care of it. Jack walked Emma to the front door. Inside, the house felt colder than the air outside. Her mother lay in bed. Her eyes widened at the sight of the tall man behind her daughter. Emma ran to her side. Mama. Her mother tried to sit up. What is going on? Jack removed his sunglasses. My name is Jack. Your husband was my brother. Silence filled the room. Emma's mother began to cry. Jack spoke with care. We did not know. We should have known. You are family. And family does not get left behind. Emma watched her mother's shoulders shake as the weight she had carried alone started to lift. Jack placed the envelope on the table. You will not need this anymore. Medical care is covered. Rent is covered. Today is about healing. Outside, the sound of work had already begun. Tools against metal. Footsteps on the porch. Voices making plans. Emma held her mother's hand. The fear was still there, but it was no longer alone. For the first time in a long time, help had arrived. And it was not leaving. The house did not stay quiet for long. Men moved with purpose. Not loud. Not wild. Calm and certain. Emma sat at the kitchen table watching her world change in real time. A man with thick hands knelt beside the heater. It will be warm soon. Another carried boxes through the door. Groceries. Enough for weeks. Emma's mother lay back against the pillows, eyes wide with disbelief. You do not have to do this. Her voice was weak. Jack sat beside her. We already are. He leaned forward. Your husband saved my life once. Pulled me out of fire without thinking twice. This is not charity. This is honor. Inside the house, the stack of unpaid bills disappeared from the table. Outside, trucks arrived. Supplies followed. A man with a clipboard spoke into his phone. Yes, oxygen. Today. Another leaned through the doorway. Pharmacy confirmed. Everything is paid. Emma's chest felt tight. Her hands trembled. She looked down at the empty space beside her feet. Ranger should have been there. She did not say his name, but Jack noticed. Where is the puppy? Emma's lips shook. I sold him. Jack turned away for a moment. When he turned back, his eyes were bright. That is not how this ends. He stepped outside and lifted his phone. Margaret. There was a pause. Yes, that puppy. Another pause. What will it take? Emma waited. Minutes felt like hours. Her mother squeezed her hand. You were so brave. Emma whispered. I did not want to. I just wanted you to stay. Jack returned. Give us a little time. That evening, the house looked different. Warm lights, full rooms, soft blankets. Emma sat on the porch steps as the sun lowered, the bikes still lining the street. Then she heard it. A familiar sound. Small paws hitting wood. Emma stood. Her breath caught. Ranger ran toward her. Tail flying. Ears bouncing. Pure joy in every step. Emma screamed his name and dropped to her knees. Ranger leaped into her arms, licking her face like he had never left. Behind him stood Margaret, smiling through tears. He was never really gone. Jack knelt beside Emma. No child should have to give up love to survive. Emma buried her face in Ranger's fur and cried. Not from fear, from relief. Her mother watched from the doorway, supported but smiling. Jack stood and faced his brothers. We fix what we can. And when we cannot, we stand together. The engines did not start yet. No one rushed away. They had found more than a mission. They had found family. And this family was not finished yet. Time changed everything. The medicine worked. Slowly at first. Then stronger. Emma's mother began to breathe without pain. The gray faded from her skin. Strength returned to her hands. Then her smile. Weeks passed. The house filled with laughter again. Every few days, motorcycles rolled quietly onto the street. Not in a crowd. Not loud. Just checking in. Someone fixed the fence. Someone replaced a broken step. Someone always stayed for tea. Emma started sleeping through the night. Ranger curled beside her bed, warm and steady, like a promise kept. Jack came often, sometimes alone, sometimes with others. Your father would have loved this. He said it once, standing in the yard. Emma looked up at him. I think he does. School felt different now, safer. When kids whispered, Emma stood taller. When problems came, she was not alone. She had names in her phone, people who showed up. Months later, on a clear morning, the street filled once more. Not with urgency, with respect. 150 motorcycles idled quietly, helmets tucked under arms. Jack stood at the front. This ride is for Hawk. He looked at Emma, and for what his courage started. They rode slow through town, past the church, past the long road where one small girl once walked alone. Neighbors waved. Some cried. Emma sat beside her mother on the porch as the last bike passed. That night, Emma asked, "Why did you all stay?" Jack answered without hesitation. Because family is not blood. Family is choice. Years later, Emma would volunteer at the animal rescue down the road. She would help people who felt helpless. She would remember what it meant to be seen. Ranger would grow old beside her. Loyal, gentle, loved. Jack would keep her father's name stitched close to his heart. Not as a memory of loss, but as proof that kindness rides far. Emma once gave up everything she loved to save someone else. What came back was more than she could imagine. Family, a future, a lesson. No one rides alone. Ending line. Respect is not demanded by power. It is earned through compassion.